Joe Rogan, Joe Rogan, Joe Rogan.
Misinformation and
making money off of it. Disinformation, I should say.
I want to show all kinds of opinions.
But not all opinions are created equal. And then you have talk show stars like Joe Rogan who just wing it.
They're like, why don't people trust me? And I trust Rogan, but I'm perfectly trustworthy. Look how loose my tie knot is.
Doing gigs out in Texas with Joe Rogan, right when things are all calm for you and relaxed.
Everything's great. Normal.
Did you see yourself becoming the most important man in the universe?
That's not real. It's just attention. No, of course not. Who the fuck would ever see that?
Yeah, it's pretty unbelievable. You took the logical progression from being, a stand-up comedian to an MMA analyst to bringing down the entire regime in the United States of America.
Bringing down the regimes.
Well, I can wish.
What happened? Something happened, and I don't know if it's attention. There's something that happens to people. It's very difficult to stay the course and be who you are. And I say this as a person who gets about as much attention as anybody gets. Like, alive. It's hard, because so many people are looking at you. And also, I have, managers and shit, and they're like, should you really do this? And should you really do that? And they talk to me on the phone. I go, hey. Gotta go. I'm high. Click. I'm like, wait, I'm not changing.
Right.
I'm not changing anything about what I do. I'm a good person. I'm a nice guy. But if you're asking me to become something different because people are paying attention, well, I'm out. Because that's not what I signed up for. I signed up to just be myself. But something happens to a lot of people when they get a lot of attention, where they start to lean towards the things that get them the most attention, or lean towards the things that they feel like get them the most support, or they start to react to the reactions of other people. And then they become reactionaries. They become different than who they really are. And one of the things is they lose their ability to have a charitable take on things. They lose their ability to be compassionate for other people, and they start looking at things very ideologically, very dogmatically, and they start falling into these traps. And you'll see it with right-wing people, you see it with left-wing people. Somehow or another, they feel like their emotions and outrage and yelling and being insulting, it enhances what they're saying.
Yeah.
Or it enhances their take on things. And it doesn't. It doesn't work. You should be maturing. It's okay to be outraged. It's okay to insult people. But it's it should have weight to it. It should make sense. And when you're doing it and it doesn't make sense, come on. What do you not have a filter? Are you having too many other people influence you? Do you not have any meditation time? Why are you changing? What are you becoming?
Or is it something more sinister than that, which I think it is for some people, where it's exactly what you're doing. You don't even really believe in this, that's outrage. Yeah. But this is a convenient way for you to kind of pile on and kind of take out your enemies.
There's
so
a lot
to
of people like that. Yeah, there's a lot of people like that. The insincere, that's dark. It's so sad. Because people are looking, but that's also why it's not very effective and it's not very popular. It's kind of popular with some casuals, but it loses support because if people don't feel you're sincere, if they don't, you can be wrong, but you have to be honest. Who are you? I want to know who you are. I don't mind flawed people. Every fucking person I love dearly is flawed. All of them. I like flawed people. I don't mind flaws, but I want to know what you're thinking. Why are you thinking what you think? Are you thinking what you're thinking because you've thought it out? Is it your opinion today, and tomorrow you might come along and go, you know what, I thought about what I said, and now I think differently because this, that, and the other. And okay, good. Now I like you even more, because now I know I can trust you to course correct. I can trust you to be honest about your missteps or why you were thinking a way that, upon further consideration, you revised your opinion. But if I think you're bullshitting me, if I think you're doing something because you're just trying to get attention, fuck all the way off. I'm not interested now.
So I think you just hit on exactly really the essence of why you're so big and the essence of why the corporate press hates you so much is that you have this connection with your audience where they know it's not like your audience thinks you're right about everything. They know you're not lying to them. And that's a really important distinction. It's not necessarily you might be wrong about some stuff, and you often will admit And it's like, I got this wrong or whatever.
For
You'll
sure.
correct yourself in real time. But they know you're not lying to them. And people can smell that, like on an instinctual level. You watch CNN and you know they're lying to you. They're not even attempting to have an honest conversation.
Have
This
you
isn't
seen Russell Brand do Brian Stelter?
Oh, so good. Oh, have I seen it? I've seen it. I've climaxed to it. It's the greatest thing ever.
It's the perfect example.
Yeah.
It's so fake.
Dude, did you see that thing? I can't even remember if this was the segment he was doing, but there was this one. If you talk about like having some self-reflection, some introspection, there's this segment where Brian Stelter is literally on air complaining about how people trust you and don't trust the media. And he's like, but Joe Rogan just gets up there and wings it.
That's
and
what
he's got this huge audience and everyone trusts him. And then we have journalists and newsrooms and fact checkers and they don't trust us. And you're like, dude, can you are really going to talk about this and not have an inch of self-reflection and go, hey, why is that? Why is it that people don't trust CNN? Why is it that you can't go to half the country without them chanting CNN sucks? Why is that?
Well, a New York Times reporter actually wrote about this. And he said, instead of demonizing Rogan, let's find out why people trust him.
Isn't that so
and people
obvious?
started
Like-
attacking him.
Yeah.
Why do they trust him over us? And people are like, fuck you!
What?
Ah!
I have a...
Play this. Play
yeah.
this.
Sounds great, but not all opinions are created equal.
Now, listen here, Sonny Jim. You're not only making people not trust you, you're making them not trust me.
Who just wing it, who make it up
Yeah.
as they go along. And because figures like Rogan are trusted by people that don't trust real newsrooms,
Well, like, why don't people trust me? They trust Rogan, but I'm perfectly trustworthy. Look how loose my tie knot is. Joe Rogan's irresponsible. He took horse maggot medicine the other day. Now tell me, sir, and don't tell me anything other than this. Should there be a war? Yes, there should be a war. Interview's done. I'd like to see you do that, Joe Rogan.
which sounds great, but not all.
Not all opinions are created equal. Like,
I mean,
what,
that is-
yours are?
But that is...
Look,
I mean,
they have
he
a
is
fully
right.
vaccinated chart. What is that chart? What's that thing to the right? New deaths, 7-day average. Jesus Christ, what are you selling? What is that? But by the way, you want to talk about processed information? How processed is that? New deaths, 7-day average. Like, okay, show me the comorbidities.
Well, right.
Show-
right.
like-
None of they're not going to show you any of the data that is actually relevant. They're not going to break it down in a meaningful way. But I just think that somewhere along the lines in this country, now that we have the opportunity to, because of the internet and podcasts and things like this, and because guys like Brian Stelter at CNN, these guys have been so, in the 21st century alone, so catastrophically wrong about so many important things, like so many, that nobody trusts them anymore. They smell that this is phony, and they don't want that. And I think what I don't think intentionally, but I think just because it's your nature, what you kind of figured out is that people were really craving just an authentic conversation.
Yes.
Where people can be flawed and people can just talk about, things that matter and talk about them from a real perspective and just have a conversation. I'm not putting on a show for you here. I'm not going, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Joe Rogan podcast today and this blah, blah, like none of that. Let's be human beings here. And that was really attractive to a lot of people.